Hi everyone, it's really cool to see you all there. Not your emails, but you personally, because for some of those, I know you from like some of you I know that are with us from 3 years ago, like one of the first customers. So it's finally cool to meet you in person. Yeah, for those who don't know you, my name is Nick. I'm from Ukraine originally, and we founded OnePage with Marcel many years ago, like too many years ago. And this keynote is in English. My German is like Entschuldigung, bitte kundigen, more or less. So are you feeling comfortable with understanding me right now? Everyone, right? More or less. I will try to talk slowly, like maybe slower than I can, so you all can get what I mean. But these slides are specifically full of text, so you can read even if I pronounce things wrong, like I already do. And then you can afterwards send it to your employees, like team members, and so they train a little bit. We split two most important parts of the product with Marcel. So while me and a bunch of engineers who had a very little of sleep during the last 2 years are handling the product, and product is not just the code, but generally how it feels, how it looks, what kind of problem it solves. Marcel and our awesome marketing team handles the marketing in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and now worldwide. Speaking of my experience, I have 7 years of working in agencies, running an own agency, managing accounts across an international holding of 9 agencies in digital. And I want to ask you, like, how many agencies are there today? Who are the agency? I thought this was going to be more. And who are using OnePage for their own business? Like, cool. All right, that's helpful a lot. And most importantly, I actually seen almost 80,000 projects that you guys did, almost everyone. So we can play a game afterwards. You can approach me, just tell your email, and I probably know what you guys are doing if you are staying with us for like 2+ years. Sounds creepy, right? Here are some of my customers I used to work days and nights with. And today we're going to talk about how to make your projects in OnePage better. So it's not an entry-level presentation. I just want to warn you, it's a presentation for the guys who are more or less savvy with OnePage already, who are kind of like pushing it to the limit. But here's an important background story first that I want to communicate. After years of doing digital projects for SMBs, like small businesses, and later major brands, I noticed there is something that doesn't feel right. Major brands take care of the projects look and feel good. They are kind of obsessed with the final quality. And there is always huge teams involved. So every piece is kind of a masterpiece, result is always polished and looks classy. So here are some of the examples. It's in Russian, but you get the general feeling. This is like a Formula 1 promo, a lot of animations, interactions, like this kind of character. This is Viasat, like 3D modeling, hanging around, like very advanced project. Here's like some of the Rovensa vacuum cleaning, like pretty cool landing page with custom interaction and sound design. Here's the KitKat. Do you guys even have KitKat in Germany? I think yes, right? All right, so this is also a promo website. All of those were pretty custom, and we spent months and months to build them. I don't play a video specifically because we are limited in time, but you got the general feeling. And it always took a team of 20+ people, brand managers, account managers, all sorts of managers, and a skyrocketing budget to finish a piece. And what is most importantly, while we're finished with a particular project for the customer, afterwards, when we start another project, all the knowledge, all the components we've built, all the designs, they are kind of gone. So you start from the scratch every time. And it doesn't feel right. Because it's not the rocket science to build pages, actually. It was back in 2015, I guess, but it was not rocket science even back then. So something was about to change. On the other hand, there are SMBs, like small businesses, and for them, we always did what works. Safer choices, maximum output, always about the revenue, commitment, KPIs, no polishing at all. And it always, the downside, looks like this. I mean, you decide, you all know. Tools were holding us back from creating great projects, not running out of time, with smaller groups of people, which are at the same time performing and aesthetically appealing to become accessible for the broader audience. Like, so small businesses, not that savvy people can actually create great, awesome pages, publish them online, and it doesn't feel like a rocket science anymore. It was back in 2016. There was no SendGrid, no Webflow, no Typeform, basically no other modern tool that we have right now. And the question was, can we deliver something that allows tiny groups of people produce high-end digital results on their own? We were looking at like what is on the market. Obviously, there was WordPress, all sorts of plugins. But one thing about them is that if you sign up to any of those softwares, they actually are looking and working the same way. So there are some polishments a little bit, but then, I mean, there is the same mechanism. You already know where everything is. And in my personal opinion, it's too tech-savvy, too complicated, and most importantly, most of those features, even though those software, they could do everything, they are never used. We'll talk about this later. So you have everything, but you use only a tiny bit of it, and it doesn't make you, like, doesn't produce any value to you. So we decided not to adjust the old, like, we went for the product, but we are not adjusting the older mechanism. We are working on a completely new framework, which is now OnePage. By framework, I mean a completely new set of experience in page building. So we had to rework, rethink everything, every small part of the software that we're building. And building something completely different takes significant amount of time and effort. So code-wise, to launch another page builder will take 6 months, and like reshaping and adjustment a very low budget if you take something what is ready. But if you go for building a new WordPress, so to speak, with like a modern functionalities, modern experience, it will take years. And here I'm leading to the question, which is probably lies somewhere in your head, whether OnePage is still gonna be restricted, same as it is today, or we are heading somewhere else. And I want to answer it right now. We're reaching this level of customization with every next month. We want to be exactly like even more powerful than Webflow, for example, or some other products, but it takes time to rework an experience for every small component, every small feature that we are releasing. So a couple of small examples, like sizing of the font. Normally, you would have to type it in, like no presets. Animations. Anyone has experience with other page builders, like not OnePage, but some other page builders. Did you experience it? Did you sign up? Yeah. So animations are normally hidden somewhere in CSS properties section, somewhere like in a code very below, and you barely use it, and it sounds really scary. While 80% of OnePage customers, we have the statistics, had already used at least once an animation for the section, and it looks classy because you simply select it as a preset. So yeah, while we're going there, we appreciate you being with us on this journey. We appreciate that you found something in OnePage, like in a product, and we are really striving to meet your expectation in a level of customization and modules that OnePage has. And a little bit of a sneak peek, we'll talk about this later, so my speech is going to be divided into 2 parts. One is right now with like some basic knowledge, and one is going to be in several hours where we talk about the next functionalities and major modules that we have planned for OnePage for the closest year. And now let's get maximum of the functionalities we have to make your project shine. Let's start with the first one. So, while speaking of digital projects, in my mind, it's something like this. So there are 3 parts, 3 main components, 3 main ingredients of making a great digital project. Well, the first part is typography, colors, and matching. It might sound simple. I mean, every one of you knows about typography, but actually, when you do a high-end digital project, you can spend weeks on just to find a perfect match. So it's not that easy as you might think, and we'll uncover some of the tips today. So take a look at this slide. It is a simple Unsplash background, free to use, just one font, another font, but it looks nice. And the secret ingredient of it is that here, it's actually a free font from like Google Fonts, but you never find it because you never scroll too deep. You guys, more or less, because as I said, I saw most of your projects, you use the first 3, 4, 5 fonts from our list, and never dig more deeper. And the problem is, I mean, there's actually not a problem. I mean, we did a perfect typography in one page, so your projects right away are already looking better than you would do in other page builders, probably, from the scratch. But then, I mean, your page visitor, like an average page visitor, they are getting more advanced. They've seen a lot of websites, a lot of front pages. And if you use something too standard for a high-end project, then, I mean, there is nothing that catches the eye from the first sight. And the typography and like the cover section is what you meet your page visitor with. So my first suggestion would be that you dig a little bit deeper to find the better fonts, something custom, something to experiment right away when you start a new project. Because then that's how you make a first move to outstand from all the competition that use Arial or Helvetica or many other fonts. Because even if you have a very little to no branding, the fonts might help. To make it even more visible, I deleted the background. And it still looks pretty much okay. It still looks better than just the normal font. And here, let's take a look at some examples. I will not be commenting at that much of a good typography in one page and not that good typography in one page. I made sure that none of those examples came here today, so we don't have any awkward moments here. So let's start with this one. It's like a branding agency. It's a cool design, cool color decisions, very clean. It's like one of the sections one of the guys did that matches the domain. Let's talk about matching the domain a little bit. So different domains have different fonts that you would rather use, like domain, I mean industry. Everyone, like, for example, like recruiting, premium real estate, normal real estate, I don't know, like barbershops and stuff. So you can be recognized. You can actually recognize, if I will show you, for example, like a Gucci font, you will recognize it's something premium. If I will show you like the Rivet font, you will recognize it's something affordable. You'll recognize it's something that you see almost every day, so there is no difference. We'll talk about this a little bit later. So this kind of match is pretty good for a marketing or branding agency. It's bold, it's innovative, all sorts of stuff. While this one is actually not a greatest example of composing a section. So it's a normal font, it's not aligned, it's like 3 or 4 different colors within a section, and almost 70% of the section is just consists of font, and there is no spaces in between. The problem is that it's like 30% of the pages, if you will go through your pages, maybe your pages are better, are like this. The problem is that it's very hard for your page visitors to even read this, and it doesn't make any great impression. This is like what I can read from this is like it's a premium beauty product because of the font and because of the colors where it's set. I think it's one of your projects, right, Svenja? No, not really. This is not that good example because there is a premium font, blue, and then green, and then all sorts of colors, and then there is a video in the mountains, and it's like actually a mountain logo. So you barely recognize what this project is about because it's a cover section as soon as you first visit it. Education, school, pretty simple. You see it's school, the fonts are classy, it's a nice choice. Handcrafted goods, like handcrafted photo box, playful font, and the color is matching the background. Digital branding, digital design, not a standard font, good composition. Something, I mean, you don't even have to know German to understand what this is more or less about, because I barely understand what it actually is, but I see some like coding font, blue, and some like backgrounds, which is like also kind of coding, so it's IT, obviously, and it catches the eye. Is this a good example of using uppercases in headlines? I mean, try this. This is actually pretty good. A lot of US websites are like this. So you simply switch uppercase and use all the headlines with uppercase. Before we proceed, I forgot to ask you a question, like, how many of you are actually doing something in one page on your own? Not with employees, but like on your own, at least once per month or something. Okay, that's cool. And for the rest, I mean, you can just get the knowledge and then send it to your employees, to your team members. You will see the result on your own because it is kind of important. The checklist. So I would start with that. You pick your fonts and colors to be suitable for the industry. Red is a worst cover for the doctor, probably, while pink is not a suitable color for the lawyer. And believe me, I've seen red doctors and pink lawyers already a lot. Then, like, some fonts are too playful, some fonts are too strict. So if you're deciding to go for a premium product, you would rather go for a sophisticated font. If you go for, like, for example, if you're looking for Mitarbeiters in construction, you will better not use a sophisticated font because they simply do not understand it. And I've seen this a lot as well. Then, you use all text styles, not only headers or paragraph. I will be back for the minutes. Here, it's like 2 headlines, actually. It doesn't make any sense. And here, it's 5 headers. It doesn't make any sense because you switch between text styles to make one information more important and the other less important, so it catches the eye. All right, we're back. Texts consume less than 50% of a section. You know, I mean, what I learned about German-speaking people from the very beginning is that you guys don't like 2 things. The distances in the sections, you simply set them to 0 because you think that, I mean, the longer the users scroll, the less the conversion is. I mean, it's not proven. I can assure you it works kind of the same, but the distances are just better looking. It's just better looking with distances. And then your words are too long and you like text. Like you really like a lot of text. But then my advice would be to reduce an amount of text within one section to at least 50% so your customers can actually read the structured information. If you put everything within just one section, it doesn't, I mean, no one actually read that. Tell the story. It's clean, easy to read. All right, it's a mistake. Easy to read left to the right like people do. Where is left to the right here? There is no left to the right, just plenty of text. And then colors are consistent with your designs and not distracting. Again, like red doctor. All right, moving forward, invest into illustrations and high-end photography. This is the second part of a good digital project. It's actually, if you do a perfect typography and a high-end illustrations or photography, your project, you cannot distinct it from a project of, I don't know, like Nestle, Red Bull, Mercedes, or something else. It's already half of the story. So if you invest into that, even the most simple project will look classy and you will have definitely more conversion out of it. Here are some examples. So this definitely looks like something like high-end, very this is like just a good photography that is professional. I think it's cut, but it's not a problem. It's like from Alexander Karl. He's sitting right here. He will be speaking. Here is like the healthcare topic and the illustration for the healthcare topic. So it's pretty important right here. So the healthcare, whenever someone go for the healthcare, it's already like a little bit, it feels a little bit scary. So when you do this kind of like playful, colorful illustrations, it helps people to feel better while visiting healthcare websites. So it's pretty interesting. Of an example, here is a high-end kind of like real estate photography that we see in one page. Tip 1, match photo and illustration color. So I just want you to understand, this is just some tips. I know that you guys can build pages. I know that you guys know what layouts are. I know that you guys earn money and that you actually produce a lot of projects. So in this room, we have people who has like over 600 projects in one page. I know that. So I'm not teaching you basics. I'm more like suggesting some tips that you might miss out. And then as soon as you are back home and you speak to your team, you will talk it through and maybe find some ways to improve your existing projects in a way you didn't realize it is possible before you went there. So this is my main point. Again, match photo and illustration color grade with website colors. So here we see a real estate. A lot of you guys are doing real estate, a real estate photo. And to the right, we see the colors that are actually from this photo. If you like make it like in any Photoshop or something, you can break it down into colors like this. And this is more or less an example of an average one-page user, how he would structure the section, I mean in terms of the font and the color with this photo. Anyone sees there is something odd into this kind of slide. Anyone. It feels normal, right? But then, here's how it's better, because it's a premium real estate. And now it matches the color of the photo. It doesn't look, it look organically. Now it's like more strict, more serious, and in a way of a potential page visitor who would apply for this premium real estate, it seems like a premium product. While here, it mostly seems like, I don't know, so I would probably not go for this website. Then, purchase or get free illustrations to enhance your projects in no time. So that's what I see a lot. Illustrations can not only be ordered on some freelance website, but just you can get it for free and color it to one-page color grade. In some of the templates, we even leave those links, but very few use that. So the most popular free illustration sources are FreePic, Icons 8, Yellow Images, and the others. We use them for some of our templates. The license is free. Whenever you have a project that requires illustrations, just go for it and let your team to download it and then use it. And the good thing about this is that they are customizable. So with one click, you can switch the colors and then it applies to you every new project. Here are some good examples about those illustrations being used in a real project. I mean, it's a very simple page, but then, I mean, this is a guy from Spain, I believe, that walks dog. And he could do like a very weird little page about him, but then he just downloaded this image, and it's 100% looks better, and obviously he's like better paid just because of this website look professionally, kind of, even though it was like just 2 minutes to download and apply. Some French website, probably marketing agency. They have croissants even on the buttons. Yeah, I mean, I was wondering what is that even, but it's like a real button. The illustration checklist. Icon set, story set, FreePic, Yellow Images, and others. You can actually insert illustrations just as a normal image. No specific format required. Like whenever, like card grids, any section, just select image, save illustration as a PNG or JPEG, insert it, that's it. Cool Media is another part of an awesome project. Layout and fonts, as I said, is another part. Adjust a new media to fit the color scheme or vice versa. All right, so one more thing. There will be a lot of marketing speeches. So I will be talking only about the execution today. And later on, we will send these slides again, so you can send it to your team. You can get more from your custom code than you think. I will probably dedicate the most time to this because we're a no-code builder, but you guys use OnePage that much that it's time for some coding. Some projects really require a code and it costs nothing. And then I will break it down into smaller parts based on examples of what you can do with OnePage here. In most of the cases, it's going to be enough to find someone familiar with these web dev tools. It's very easy. It's HTML, CSS, JavaScript, publish, like whatever you want to do on like any freelance website that you guys have, receive it for 10 bucks. Be happy, because sometimes you request that. And during my next speech, I will uncover some very interesting things about custom development that you guys will like. Tip 1, extend pages with external widgets. So let's start with this one. This is actually the most visited funnel in OnePage. An amount of traffic those guys get is like scares me a lot because whenever we talk to this guy, we know how our deployment, how our release went, because he has all these sorts of trackers, and every single time during the day or night, if we fail for a minute, then he writes us because of the amount of money they spend on this funnel. And what we have on the right, it doesn't seem like a one-page element because it's more like a Shopify actually. And the first thing I saw it, I was like, all right, what's going on? I mean, it's not our form. It's probably a kind of custom configurator. What is he even doing? But then I realized he ordered it from some developer, I don't know from where, and it cost him not a lot at all to just develop this checkout for one page and insert it as a custom code, which was very interesting at the time. This is marketing website. Anyone is going to this is marketing? Cool. You've probably seen this. It's made with one page, and you've probably seen this bar below, which is kind of pretty cool. And it was custom coded. I think it took 10 minutes to code. We don't have it one page, but I know that many of you do webinars, live events, whenever you want to use a scarcity. So this custom sticky bar is one of the examples on how to use custom code in one page. Then this project is very interesting. I mean, whoever does projects for local small businesses, I see real Google testimonials that rarely. Even though this is like the first thing which would come to my mind is to show up the testimonials from real Google kind of customers. And there is one guy who uses this a lot. It's like Martin Rumiec, he would talk later on. And this kind of bar is very adjustable. You can insert it as like a trust badge. It can be small, it can be large, it can be very large. I would suggest you to add to some of your pages whenever you do something for a local business, because it's built trust. And unlike the testimonials that you use just as a one-page section, it's a real test that can be proven by just clicking on them, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So this is a good find out. Then tip 2, change how elements and layouts look by adding something new. So in most of the time, to accomplish your marketing goals, you only need a really cool and custom looking cover section, because this is what catches the eye and this is what makes your bounce rates really low. So if your page visitor is impressed with how your first cover, like your hero, is looking, then he will probably leave and scroll further, and I will show you some examples. So this is like a custom badge on one of the Marcel's tickets, done with 1 minute. Good stuff. You can change how the element look like. Whatever you need, you explain to some freelance websites, and they go in and change it particularly for the project, and it doesn't break anything in one page. You can still edit it as normal elements. It's not broken. All the elements are in place. Just add this, I mean, whatever your imagination goes, and it costs 5 euros. Here's it. Then it's a completely new layout from one of the French websites. So they changed the layout to fit the food, and as far as I know, it's not possible to fit the image that easily and that fluently in one page, but they did it. So you can change the whole layout of the section, insert something custom coded, and it looks great. Do various things that looks cool. If you have your laptops right now, you can just visit this link. Surprise one page to me that, wow, to see better with laptop, to see that this custom section is actually coded. Better not with the mobile phone. I told my designer not to insert a QR. On the laptop, it's like looks way better. This is actually made with one page. It took us 10 minutes. You can see the animation, how it looks. It's pretty cool. Then there's another example, which is just surprise one page me. It's just you make your website like a presentation, so it goes like slides. You can just take a photo and take a look later. It's also pretty cool. And countless other effects can be applied to one-page pages, like to a normal WordPress page or whatever you guys are also creating with. And again, it takes no time. So whenever you need it, just go for a professional help. There are some projects that require coding anyway. So this is what I like about Webflow. So they claim it's like a no-code project, products and so on, but it's only coding, only coding. So we have just a little bit of that. Here is the developer checklist. So just HTML and CSS is enough for smaller effects, animated text, whatever you need, whatever reference do you find. Add JavaScript, and you can do almost every advanced thing that you can ever imagine. There is no developer docs yet, but they will be existing, and it's not the rocket science. So based on our example, every new developer who is involved into one-page project gets along pretty fast. Use some of the new features. They are cool. Transfer leads from CRM using webhooks. Anyone is actually aware we have webhooks? And what is it? Okay, so a very few people. All right, so some of you are complaining or like sending us feature requests that, oh, I don't see my integrations on Zapier, or Zapier is paid, or something like this. So how do I transfer leads? See this icon? This is how you do it. So with the use of webhook, you can actually send your leads anywhere if your webhooks is supported, and this is free. So for some of those which team claim that, oh, we cannot use one page with something, just draw their attention, we use webhooks, and it's almost like 3 months since we got this feature. Logic branching in quizzes. It's actually funny to ask, but who is aware we have new quiz module and logic branching, like logic jumps? So there are some that are not aware. All right, then I will tell you. So recently, we released logic jumps to quizzes. And speaking of the experience, we did it in a way, I mean, I believe most of you like it, that it's very, very detailed how you do it. Unfortunately, there is something with my resolution, so we can see the tree. But I saw the project already, which has like over 50 different branches, and it still works fine. So with this logic branching, if you buy this add-on, just check it out. You can make a very, very precise, very accurate, and widespread tree of answers and responses to configure within your quiz. So every your next step actually reflects on the other steps that your customers have taken an action in one page. So for example, you have 3 offices, you set up one step as, I don't know, like, I want to visit your London's office. And then if you select it, your next step, for this guy, the next step would be, all right, so where in London you actually want to meet, or something like this. So it reflects his previous answers, and you are able to build this whole funnel. Events and analytics. So many of you have asked about conversion API and all sorts of tags. And we're holding it back for as much as we can to make it better. And it's actually live already. Anyone discovered it, that we have like conversion API, LinkedIn, TikTok, all sorts of pixels and events. So if you didn't log in and check it out, you can actually see that in any element of one page, you can apply an event, make it custom, select its value, and it's also like you can build the whole pipeline starting from your page, any element, not only button. You can set up an event for clicking on the image. And then all the way through your quiz, you can actually set up events within your quiz depending on the choices that your customers make inside the quiz. So you make one choice, one event, another choice, another event, all the way through, and then to the end step, to the certain end step that you set up through the logic branching. So I would say I didn't see it implemented that way in other software, especially in the German market. It makes it really precise, and again, what is really good is that you can actually set it up for every element, not just conversional elements. So just check it out. It's live already. I mean, click any element and you will see. Yeah, this is probably what I was talking about. All elements, create events, custom events, conversion app, like whatever you guys need, it is there and it works, which is good. And then the email builder. It's like a little bit of a sneak peek. We wanted to release it today, actually, but we have to take a week. And this is, I will be talking about one-page development strategy during my next speech, but then I will just uncover it a little bit. So we started with messaging module. I want you to understand we're not becoming an all-in-one software, and we don't want to be like better in everything, so you build everything, because this strategy never works. But what we want to do, because of certain features you requested, is an ability that you create email templates within your projects. They look consistent, they look the same like your projects or your customers' projects. You set up variables, you transfer your data, it's an organical part of your project, and then you are free to select with what you want to send it out. And then you will be able to send it up white label without one page mentioned, which is very good for some agency people who doesn't want a mention of one page at all. So this is coming in recently. I've already tested out. It looks great and feels great, and it has basically no difference in building than the rest. So there is like no learning curve at all. Your employees, your team members, you yourself will be able to start right away. And it's actually included in most of the packages that you guys have. It's built, I'm always skipping. I'm telling something, and then there is a slide where I could read from. Yeah, connect and set, use variables, cool, send out, yes. And you actually can, yeah, so there is one more thing. You will be able to configure, like to trigger your email in both cases, whenever the lead comes into the certain list, and then whenever the lead comes through the certain end step, which is also important. For example, if you do a product finder quizzes and it has like 50 end steps, you will be able to send the relevant data, for example, like the product description with an email that is triggering exactly after this end step. Yeah, so it's webhook, logic branching, events analytics, email builder, so on. So we're coming closer to the end. I already learned that many of you do not use OnePage yourself that actively. So this is like more for your team members, but it's like, because of some of the points, I'm really wondering why so many are not using it. First of all, it's full screen mode. So 90% of people use this 30-inch MacBook or Windows PC. And whenever you're editing something in OnePage, it always looks like this. So you have this sidebar on to the left. And the problem is, while editing this, it will, and after publishing and visiting the live page, it will not be looking the same as you see it inside the builder, because obviously you have the sidebar on the left. So if you click this button, which is like full screen mode, then you will have your page while editing exactly like it's gonna look while after you publish it. And to access the sidebar, just move your mouse a little bit to the left and you will see it. There is no need to use it like this because it cuts out. Some of you have like 11-inch laptops. Don't make your life too hard with this. Then, yeah, or the hotkey. I will talk about the hotkeys. So we have this search bar. Again, I know that some of you have over 500, 600 projects, and I'm really sorry that some, like at the time, I don't know, like maybe a year ago or something, OnePage was not friendly to this amount of projects at all. I mean, we didn't even have a plan who has more than 20 projects. So I know many of you guys had created several accounts. So the management was very painful, and we're working on this. But then, for you, there is a sidebar, search bar. So you can click Command and K or Control and K. And actually, if you're working long hours or your employees are working long hours, they can access different projects by just typing in how the project is named, or access some basic settings, or your pages within a project, whatever. I mean, me personally, in our team, we use OnePage on a daily basis, and I know how much time it saves. I mean, I'm not a hotkey guy at all. I mean, I never used hotkeys in any of the softwares that I use, but in OnePage, I use only hotkeys because it's so fast and easy and smooth to use that. So this was what you can do with search bar, like accessing pages, jump into CRM, back and forth, settings, and more. Try it once. You will never be back to a normal clicking, and it saves time. Shortcuts. So this is pretty interesting. How many of you who build pages themselves time to time are aware we have hotkeys at all? All right, so there is one guy. So we have hotkeys. There are questions like this. I mean, I configured the button once and I made it green, and it's like, I like it, but what I don't like is that I had to configure this button on all of my pages. What do? You copy it with hotkey, and then you paste it whatever amount of times that you want. You can copy and paste elements. I mean, actually, while creating templates, sometimes I do templates myself. I'm only using hotkeys, and it saves like hundreds of minutes of my time. Then you can do it with elements. You can do it with the whole sections. Many of you asked about global sections. Why should I have to configure section again and again so many times? Because it's like in different projects, blah, blah, blah. We're working on it. While we are actually working on the global sections, just copy sections. It is possible. Copy them and paste them out. If you paste them in another project, it will automatically start fitting your color, fonts, like all the settings will be applied, but you copy the whole structure with text. So it's a very simple hotkey in there. And again, so this is also what it can do. Even if you never use shortcuts in your life, you know Command C and Command V, try it out. You will be thankful afterwards when we meet. Thanks for listening. This was more about the execution, and then during my next speech, we'll be talking about where OnePage goes a little bit, and I hope you will be able to understand me. We're like both very serious, you and me, but I hope it was kind of helpful and you learned something out of it. We'll send the slides afterwards. Yeah.